Or let's unpack this. Um, Imagine, just for a second, your company is just buried under documents.
Yeah.
Invoices, contracts, customer forms.
All slightly different.
Exactly. Different formats, making automation feel, well, almost impossible sometimes. So today, we're doing a deep dive into how UiPath tackles that exact problem, building smart, resilient automation. And we're doing it by looking through the lens of the UiPath Specialist AI Automation Exam Practice Questions, the SAIAv1.
Yeah, and what's really interesting, I think, is that these questions, they aren't just about passing a test, not really.
Right.
They give us a super focused look at the core tools and the thinking within UiPath, especially around AI and document understanding.
Yeah.
They really show how to build stuff that works in the real world where things are kind of messy.
Absolutely. So our mission today is pretty straightforward. Break down these key concepts, figure out what they are, and maybe more importantly, why they matter.
Yeah, why you should care.
Exactly. Why you should care if you're looking to automate processes, use AI effectively, build automation that's actually smart and can scale. It's like getting a shortcut, to being really clued in on the critical bits. So first things first, if you are thinking about maybe getting certified in this area, let's just quickly cover the exam itself. What are the sort of key facts people should know about this UiPath-SAIAv1?
Sure. So the exam itself, it's web-based. It's proctored online through Pearson VUE.
Okay, standard stuff.
Yeah, so you can basically take it from anywhere. You get 180 minutes, 3 hours.
Plenty of time.
Yeah, it's usually enough time for the kinds of questions they ask. You'll see multiple choice, some drag and drop, and even simulation-based questions.
The practical ones.
Exactly. They really test if you can actually do it, not just know it. Passing score is around 70%, roughly.
Okay.
And it's offered in English and Japanese right now. Knowing these details, it helps you prep, sure, but like we said, it also frames the really important stuff, the concepts we're about to dig into.
Yeah, it gives you the map.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into those capabilities then. The stuff that makes UiPath effective when you've got those, mountains of documents we talked about.
Right.
This is where it gets really, really interesting if you're dealing with inconsistent data day in, day out. How does UiPath go beyond just like basic OCR? How does it really understand and pull data out, especially from those tricky semi-structured documents?
Good question.
Like kicking us off, for those documents where the layout changes, maybe an invoice from a totally new supplier, what's the UiPath tool for that and how does it work?
Okay, so that's where the ML skill extractor activity really shines.
ML skill extractor.
Yeah. It's not just looking for text in a specific box on the page. It uses machine learning models. These models live in UiPath AI Center.
The AI Center.
Right, which is basically the central hub for managing and, importantly, improving these ML models over time. These models are trained to understand the meaning behind the data.
Meaning not just location.
Exactly. So even if the field, like invoice number, moves around or the wording nearby changes, the model can still find it. So what does that actually mean? It means it's not just reading text. It's understanding the context.
Right.
Which is huge for automating stuff that used to need manual review just because the formats were all over the place.
That's a really key difference. Okay, so you have this smart extractor. But even before you extract, how do you get organized? How do you classify all these different kinds of documents coming in? Because, garbage in, garbage out.
Oh, absolutely. That's where the taxonomy manager in document understanding is just critical.
Taxonomy manager.
Think of it like the blueprint for your whole document process. It lets you define your document types like invoice, contract, purchase order, and then for each type, you define the specific pieces of data, the fields you need to pull out. If you think bigger picture, without a good taxonomy, trying to do intelligent document processing just becomes chaos. This is where you set the foundation. It stops the AI from trying to, extract an order date from a contract where it doesn't even exist.
Makes sense. So you set up the blueprint with Taxonomy Manager. Now a new document comes in. How does the system automatically figure out, okay, this is an invoice, not a contract, and group it correctly?
Right. So that's the job of the classifier, also part of document understanding.
Classifier. Okay.
It looks at the incoming document and basically matches it to one of those categories you defined in the taxonomy manager.
Oh, so they work together.
Exactly. Hand in hand. It ensures the right extraction logic gets applied to the right kind of document. So invoices go to the invoice extractor, contracts to the contract logic, and so on. It automates that sorting step.
Which saves a ton of manual effort up front.
Huge amount. Speeds the whole thing up.
Okay, so it sounds like there isn't just one way to extract data then. You mentioned the ML extractor. Are there others? And like, when would you choose one over the other? What's the thinking there?
Yeah, that's a great point. UiPath gives you a few tools in the toolbox. So the ML extractor, like we said, uses those smart machine learning models. It's great for handling variations in layout, perfect for those semi-structured documents.
Like the messy ones.
The messy ones. But then you also have things like the fixed layout extractor.
Fixed layout. Okay. Sounds like what it is.
Pretty much, it relies on exact locations, like
Okay.
coordinates on a page or predefined templates. It's super fast and very accurate, but only if the document layout is always exactly the same.
Like a standard form, maybe.
Exactly, like government forms or maybe invoices if they always come from the same system and look identical every time. So yeah, you pick the extractor based on how consistent your documents are.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not just one tool fits all. You've got specialized options depending on the challenge.
Yeah.
What stands out to you most about this whole document handling approach in UiPath? It feels quite nuanced.
I think it's the combination, the flexibility of ML for variable stuff, the precision of fixed layout for structured stuff, and the underlying organization from taxonomy and classification. It lets you build something really tailored.
Yeah, adaptable but precise where needed. Okay, so that idea of adaptability brings us back to the intelligence, the AI. Let's pivot a bit to the brain behind a lot of this, the UiPath AI Center itself.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned the models live there, but how do they actually get smarter? You deploy a model, but it's not perfect on day one usually. How does it learn? How do you make sure it improves?
Right, and that's a critical piece. It's the feedback loop feature in AI Center.
Feedback loop. Okay.
It's not a deploy it and forget it kind of system. The idea is when the automation runs, maybe the model extracts something, but it needs human validation, perhaps in an action center task.
Right, a human checks the work.
Exactly. And if that human corrects a field, says, no, the model got this wrong, this is the right value, that correction can be fed back.
Back into the system.
Back into AI Center to help retrain the model. So over time, based on real-world corrections from your own team, the model gets more accurate for your specific documents and data.
So it learns from its mistakes, essentially.
Precisely. It creates this continuous improvement cycle. Your AI adapts as your data or needs evolve.
That feels really powerful, like building a system that actually grows with you.
Yeah.
So beyond just that learning loop, what's the big picture advantage of using AI Center to manage all these models, especially in a larger company?
I'd say the key benefit is centralization and governance.
Okay.
Think about it. In a big organization, you might end up with tens, maybe hundreds of ML models for different tasks. AI Center gives you one place to manage them all.
Right.
You can deploy them, track their versions, monitor their performance, see which model is being used where. It prevents what some people call model sprawl, where models are scattered everywhere and nobody knows which is the latest, and there's no consistency.
Yeah, chaos.
Yeah, basically. AI Center brings order to that. It ensures you're using the best, most up-to-date models consistently, and you can scale your AI efforts without losing control.
So it's not just about the cool AI tech. It's about managing it properly, making sure it evolves, and deploying it consistently. That sounds like a huge operational advantage.
Absolutely. It's essential for enterprise-grade AI.
Okay, now let's shift gears slightly. We've talked about understanding documents, managing AI. Let's talk about the actual work getting done. How do the robots process things efficiently? And maybe more importantly, how do they handle it when things inevitably go wrong?
Yeah, the operational side.
Right. Let's start with the basic unit of work.
Yeah.
In UiPath Orchestrator, you hear about queues and transaction items. What exactly is a transaction item?
Okay, so think of orchestrator queues as smart to-do lists for your robots. They manage the workload, especially for large volumes.
Okay.
A transaction item, then, is one single item on that list, one discrete piece of work. So if you're processing invoices, each invoice might be one transaction item.
One item per invoice.
Exactly. The robot picks up one item, processes it, marks it as complete or failed, then picks up the next. Handling work this way, item by item, gives you much better tracking. You know the status of every single invoice.
Right.
And crucially, it allows for better exception handling and retries if something goes wrong with just that one item.
I see. So it isolates the work.
Yeah, it isolates the work and the potential failures. It's fundamental for building scalable, reliable, and auditable automations.
Okay, that makes sense. Building on that reliability point, things do go wrong, right?
Yeah.
A system might be down, a file might be missing, whatever.
Yeah.
How does UiPath help you build automations that don't just like fall over and die when that happens? How do they recover?
Yeah, that's where exception handling comes in. And the main tool for that in a UiPath workflow is the try-catch activity.
Try-catch. Heard of that concept?
It's a classic programming concept, really.
Hmm.
You basically wrap a set of actions, the ones that might potentially fail inside the try block. If everything in the try block works fine, great, it moves on. But if any action inside try throws an error, an exception.
Doesn't crash the whole robot.
Exactly. Instead of crashing, the workflow jumps to the catch block. And in the catch block, you define what to do about that specific error.
Like what?
Well, you could log the error details, maybe send a notification to someone. You could try the action again after a pause. Or maybe you mark that specific transaction item as a failure with a reason and let the robot move on to the next item.
Ah, so you handle it gracefully.
Precisely. It's about graceful error management and recovery, moving away from brittle automations that break easily towards resilient ones that can handle bumps in the road, maybe even self-heal sometimes, or at least fail in a controlled way.
Got it. Those sound like the sort of unsung heroes of making automation actually work reliably in production. Transaction items and try-catch.
Definitely. They provide the robustness businesses really need.
Okay, one last area. Integration. Automations often need to talk to other systems, right? Your ERP, CRM, databases. How does UiPath connect to these other applications securely in a modern way, especially thinking about authentication?
Yeah, it's super important. You don't want credentials just lying around in your code.
Definitely not.
So the UiPath integration service, which handles a lot of these connections, typically uses modern authentication standards. Think OAuth 2.0 or token-based authentication.
Okay, OAuth. Familiar with that.
Right. So instead of embedding a username and password directly in your workflow, which is a huge security no-no, the integration service manages secure connections using tokens.
How does that work? Simply.
Well, basically, the system gets a temporary secure token from the target application, often by leveraging the user's existing login or through a pre-configured secure setup. The robot then uses that token to prove it's allowed to access the application. The actual password is never exposed in the automation itself.
Okay, so it's much more secure.
Way more secure, and it's standard practice for enterprise integrations today. It allows secure, scalable connections without compromising credentials.
That's critical for any IT security folks listening. Shows it's built for the enterprise.
Absolutely.
Food for thought. We covered a ton today. I certainly learned a lot. Hope you found it useful too.
Hope so.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.